Hello everyone, my name is Jen and welcome to the Book Refuge and welcome to my February TBR. Wow, it's crazy that I'm going to be planning February already. I mean, I always plan it at this time, so it's not like I'm planning it super early, but February is going to be when I go on my birthday vacation. I will be going a month early, so nobody needs to wish me happy birthday yet. My birthday's not till March 18th, but my sister and I are going on my birthday trip the second week of February. I will be going to Universal Studios from February 6th through the 11th, and I'll be gone from the 4th through the 12th. So, I'm going to be gone for a good chunk of time. So, I really tried not to over plan my month just because I know I won't get much reading done when that's happening. I mean, I'll do some, I tell you, I have a book with me all the time. I'll have an audiobook in my ear, or I'll be reading on my phone while we're in line for things. But I'm just not going to be able to get through the same volume. So part of the reason I went really hard in January with getting into my challenges for the year is I knew that February, I'm not really doing any of those. I'm just doing my necessary reads that I have to do. And then it will be FaRoReb. I will be participating in FaRoReb to a certain degree, but a lot of the stuff they're doing during the week that I'm gone is when they're hitting it really hard. And I had to be I'm sorry, I just can't commit to anything because I'm either going to be on my trip or I'm going to be getting home from it. And I don't want to have to worry about commitments to any of that. But I'm pretty excited about it. Okay, I'm pretty excited. So we're going to dive right in with our read-alongs and things we're about reading. So for February, it will be time to reread A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas, or read for the first time for some of you. We only have 2 months left of this. I'm so sad already. If you loved reading these for the first time, there is also for FaRoReb a reread happening for the first 4 books in the series. That is being hosted by some ladies on Instagram. So if you want to check that out, they're going to be doing a live show for this actually a couple days after we do one for this. But the live show for this will be on my channel, and it will be on February 26th. I assume it will be 5 p.m. the same time that we've been doing them. I have to double check when I'm setting it for. But yeah, we'll be rereading this. I'm so excited to read this. This is probably my favorite Sarah J. Maas book, right behind A Court of Mist and Fury, of course, but I love it so much. Then we also don't have a live show date picked for this yet, but we will be doing letters C and D for the ABCs of Love read along that I'm doing with Jackie from First Lady Reads. We are doing a ABCs of Love reading challenge. There's this series that's all by different authors that Amazon is doing. And we're doing Comfort by Megan Matthews and Delectable by Emily Robertson. So I'm sure our live show will be, at the end of the month sometime. Let's talk about what those books are about real quick. Each one is pretty tropey, is kind of what we've discovered. So that's kind of cool. So this one says it's a funny second chance romantic suspense set in Pelican Bay. It's another author I've never read, so that's cool. This one has a group of former Navy SEALs, and his high school sweetheart came along, and then she's disappeared. Oh, hold on. It says, could a chance run-in with ex-boyfriend Riley Jefferson lead to my death? Cassandra left in the middle of the night 10 years ago without a single goodbye. Now she's back, leaving me with a chance to solve the mystery of why she disappeared. My high school sweetheart didn't come alone and has no idea what trouble she's about to unleash in our quiet town. I'm not the same man she once loved. Working with a group of former Navy SEALs has shown me the horrors of the world. They've also taught me well. When her choices catch up to her, I'll need every one of my new skills to win Cassandra's heart and keep her alive. Interesting. See how that is. And then Delectable. Okay, this one is super long here, but this one is by Emily Robertson. This one says, Jace Callahan had to be going through a midlife crisis. Sure, it was about 12 years too soon, but it seemed to be the only explanation for the state of matters. Fresh out of a divorce, the only bit of advice his folks gave him has been to stick it out. Not listening had led him to his best friend's restaurant and the pity job Travis found for him to do. Now Jace was parenting solo on the weekends in a place he wasn't even fond of, just to get away from all the drama. Beth Rollins wasn't your typical 24-year-old. Growing up with a super conservative parents made her naive, and when they disowned her for not thinking the same, her life changed real fast. Things weren't flowers and sunshine all the time, but after landing a dream job, Beth thought perhaps things were finally going her way. Running into Jace reminded her she wasn't allowed to have nice things. When Jace and Beth's worlds are thrown together again, only one of them remember their past connection. Having already shed her former self, Beth is in no hurry to remind Jace of their history. Perhaps he'll see her for the woman she is and not the girl they all made fun of in high school. What's the worst that could go wrong anyway? It's not like guys like him stuck around long term with girls like her. Okay, well, whatever that one means. We'll see. We're going to do C and D in February. Okay, then we have the books that I am reading for Patreon. So the book that was chosen for Dad's Best Friend is Oceans of Us. So this one is an age gap, and Dad's Best Friend, obviously. Those are the tropes. So this will be exclusive to my Patreon, and I'm very excited. This one's actually been on my TBR for a while, and when it got put up for Dad's Best Friend, I was like, perfect. That's what I need. Let's do it. Then as for what I'm like rereading and annotating for people, someone picked Ruthless Creatures. Someone picked Don't Hex and Drive. Inferno by Amara Ray. And Mine Till Midnight by Lisa Kleypas. Also, I have another reread that I'm doing because an epilogue story just came out for it, and I really want to reread Contradictions, so I'm going to reread the beautiful copy that Mel gave me. And then Ampersands, if you loved Contradictions, Ampersands put out an anniversary epilogue, so it's been 1 year since she finished this, and so she put a little epilogue out and made me want to reread the story, so I'm going to do that. Then the new releases and or books that I have arcs for are, I have an arc of The Portrait of the Duchess by Scarlett Peckham. This book doesn't come out until March, but it's March 7th, so I'm going to try to get to that one. There is The Chaperone by Noelle Adams. I'm on Noelle/Claire's arc team, so I'll be getting an arc for this. This is book 2 in Companions for Hire, but instead of this one being like a fake dating, this one's going to be being a chaperone for this like rich single father's like teenage daughter. So that's kind of cool. I just got approved for an arc of The Firefighter's Dilemma by Mariah Ankeman. This is part of the Mile High Firefighters, and I really enjoyed the first two. They're funny rom-coms, usually like funny situations and pretty sexy. And I mean, the covers have all been great, so I'm excited to read this. There is Powerless from Elsie Silver. I did apply to get an arc for this. I don't know if I will, but either way, I'll either have like read this by February, because I think if we get an arc, it will be the end of January, but otherwise this comes out February 10th. So either I will have read it by February, or I'm going to be reading this on my vacation because I'm reading this the day it comes out. This one's going to be a hockey romance, which is so cute. So yeah, this one's going to be Jasper Jarvis, who is the hockey player friend to everybody. And I think he was kind of taken in as like a surrogate brother/son to the Eatons. And then the heroine is a runaway bride scenario. Yes, I'm very excited. Then this is one I will probably also read before February, because I keep seeing different times. Like it says it comes out in February, but my thing said that I needed the arc done by the end of January, so I'm not sure. But this is a high fantasy romance called When a Moth Loved a Bee by Pepper Winters. Now I'm a little bit nervous because I haven't loved stuff by Pepper Winters, but I'm very interested in this as a high fantasy. And it just seems so interesting. It says this is the first volume in the Destiny Chronicles. So it's a heavy romantic, spice-filled fantasy set in a world where life and death, shadows and stars watch over two forbidden lovers whose powers are best left forgotten. So this is this fantasy is 100% romance. It isn't a quest where they spend most of the book apart. If you want a rich world, magic, intrigue, oodles and oodles of page time with two characters together, all brimming with longing, forbiddenness, and butterfly winging moments, this is the book for you. So it isn't a quest where they spend time apart. So that's great. So I don't know. I'm intrigued, and I signed up for an ARC for this one. So I think I will probably get to it sooner rather than later so that I'm not trying to read this one right before my trip. Then this is one that's coming out the end of January, but I'll either get to it right when it comes out or I'll read it in February, and that is Lore by Lily Mayne. This is going to be book 7 in the Monstrous series, and this one was supposed to be a novella, but it ended up being, I think, like one of her longest books, because that's Lily for you. So this one is about Lore and a human named, what's the human's name? She told us what it was going to be, but I can't remember what the human's name is now. But either way, I am going to read these no matter what. So then The Vow by Maggie Cole. This one will come out March 1st. I have an ARC of this waiting for me already because I read an ARC of the auction. So I'll be reading The Vow before it comes out for sure. The Counterfeit Scoundrel by Lorraine Heath. I have an ARC for this one. This is the first in her new series, The Chessmen, Masters of Seduction. And yeah, I'm very into this one. This one is about Daisy Townsend, or Margaret Daisy Townsend. And she is supposed to find proof of a wife's infidelity. And then there is David Blackwood, who is known as the Bishop. And I think maybe he's the one who was having an affair with the lady. So she's going to try to discover it. So that's cool. And then I signed up for an ARC of this. But again, even if I don't get it, I'm going to read it when it comes out. And that is Ethan by Ella Frank. So some people were confused about this, but I'll explain. So this is going to be the second generation in the Confession series. If you've read these or you've been interested, the first 4 books in the Confession series were about a triad. They were about Robbie, Julian, and Priest. Julian and Priest are a married couple, and then they bring Robbie in as kind of their princess, their third. They wanted a third that they could both dominate and love and spoil together. And by the end of those 4 books, they have had a little girl. I can't remember. I think it was a surrogate. I can't remember if they adopted her or if it was a surrogate, but they have a little girl. And now then there was 2 books that were about different couples. There was Bailey and something else. And so those were books 5 and 6. And then this is book 7. And this one is going to be an MMF that is with the daughter Chloe Thornton Priestley, who's a wild child daughter of the 3 Ps. So I'm so interested in this because I have wanted to read a book by Ella Frank that has a female love interest so bad. Like, I really have. And I think that Chloe is going to be so interesting. Like, I don't know. I'm just fascinated. I love when authors write good but I like them to be able to write like, I just think it's fascinating when they can write both. Like, there are some series that I so badly want there to be an MF couple somewhere, and the fact that this one's an MMF and it'll have BDSM and it'll have all this great stuff in it, I'm so here for it. So this one's going to be Ethan, Zane, and Chloe, and there's going to be a trilogy coming that's going to be like, each one of them will have a name like the other ones have. So yeah. So this one, I think Zane and Ethan are together. And then it says this beautiful redhead walks into their bar and turns their lives upside down. And I'm like, I love this idea. So whether I get an ARC for that one, I'm going to read it. I'm super into it. So those are the ARCs and new releases. Then I did still pick, like I said, a couple of books that fit into my list, as well as, okay, so basically what I'm doing one book from the 12 Recs from 12 Friends. So I'm going to read That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Demon by Kimberly Lemming. This was recommended by Anne Marie on Instagram. And then I picked 5 books from my book rec form that were all fantasy, because I do want to stick with the FaRoReb thing. A couple of the books right in the releases are part of that, like When a Moth Loves a Bee and the Lily Mayne one. Oh, I also forgot. Teach Me by L.L. Ash is a book that I really, really want to read. So this is a follow-up to Him, which was a best friend's dad book that I read ages ago. And L.L. Ash is an author that I've always kept an eye on. They haven't put anything else. My guess is that this author, like L.L. Ash, is a pen name for their like erotic novels. But I loved Him. It is not perfectly written at all, but it definitely has vibes of like a Birthday Girl, but different because it's best friend's dad. And this second book, Teach Me, is going to be about the daughter / best friend. So the girl who stayed with the dad and her friend, like her dad and the friend got together, and then there was this girl, and I believe it might not be her, because I think that she had like an accidental pregnancy and was going to be with that guy, but maybe it doesn't work out. Maybe she's like a young single mom. Like, I don't know. I could be wrong. I'd have to look up the names of the people. But either way, if I'm completely wrong about that, I still want to read another book by L.L. Ash. I have read other books by this author, and there hasn't been anything new in years, and this popped up that it's coming out in February. So I'm reading it. Whatever it ends up being about, I'm reading it. It's happening. Okay, so the 5 books that I picked from the Google Rec form, if you don't know, you can recommend a book to me. Make sure you put the tropes in, because when things like this happen, where I want to pick some tropes to read, that's what I search for. I searched the words fantasy romance and I went through them. So I want to read Daughter of No Worlds by Carissa Broadbent. A lot of my friends have been reading Carissa Broadbent. I've heard great things. So I actually ordered a physical copy of that. Of Heists and Hexes by S.L. Prater. I actually read another book by S.L. Prater last FaRoReb and I really enjoyed it. And this is one that particularly a couple of you really, really love, so I want to get to. A Soul to Keep by Opal Rain, which has been on my TBR for months, and FaRoReb is the time to get around to it, okay? It's time to do it. The Bartender's Bride by T.J. Dallas. This one isn't fantasy romance, but it is a sapphic romance. And I have sapphic on my chart over here. I actually have 2 sapphic. Didn't realize that I did that. I'll have to change one of those. And so I grabbed that one. And then Mortal Skin by Lily Mayne, which is part of her Fae trilogy that I haven't started yet because I was waiting for the 3rd one to come out. But I want to get to Mortal Skin, because Mortal Skin and the one after it are 2 of one of my friend's favorite books, and I want to get to it. So those are all the books that I have on my TBR. Like I said, I'm keeping it a bit smaller. I didn't pick as many books off of my year-long TBR as I could have, because I don't want to overwhelm myself, and then I would just end up skipping them anyway, because like I said, I'm going to have a great time on my birthday trip. And I don't want to be worried about getting behind on too many things. Like, the priorities are going to be my Patreon books, my book club books, and then the arcs that I have to get to, and everything else, I'll just fit it in where I can, you know? So anyway, thank you so much for watching this. Let me know which books you're excited about for February, and I'll see you next time. Bye.